Okay, so I'm going to take you through the level 5 leadership. So what this section basically consists of is looking at the theory of what a level 5 leader is. And thereafter we'll kind of engage with the given theory and the Jim Collins perspective of what it entails to transform organizations from good to great. And then apply that from Shackleton and determine, well, if he did live up to the level 5 leadership theory, and in essence if there is such a thing as a level 5 leader. So starting off, basically based on the theory there are 5 levels, and although individuals don't need to proceed through each level, they require all the capabilities of the lower level to be considered a level 5 leader. So basically Jim Collins speaks of how good to great transformations are based on leaders who've demonstrated getting the right people on the bus, the yin and yang of level 5, which is basically humility and will, and he says that that is basically what it takes to kind of lead an organization from good to great in terms of the transformation. So just to put that into context, an example, the study basically put together different types of leaders and looked at their traits and characteristics and how they managed to, at that point in time, transform the organizations. So, for example, the study looked at Smith and how he managed to turn around Kimberly Clark. So the study says that he managed to blend humility with professional will. In his personality compared to other CEOs, he was shy, he was unpretentious, he was awkward, he was fierce, and he had iron will. So looking at that, can you think of any examples of leaders who demonstrate the traits that Smith did, leaders who are not as charismatic or not as outspoken? So to answer that, obviously there are leaders such as Abraham Lincoln, and there's Mark Love, who also transformed Gillette. So looking at the results, basically, it justifies that the transformation was great based on the fact that the stock returns were 4 times the market value. At the time, Smith was the leader of Kimberly Clark, and he managed to resolve to do what was best for the company as opposed to living to basically fulfill his own egotistic needs, and he never stopped trying to become qualified for the business. So based on that, now the question is, do you think Shackleton was a level 5 leader? Do you think that he lived up to the theory that was presented by Jim Collins? So just looking at some points of the Shackleton story and how it could apply, it was basically kind of, if you look at it as a tutorial of how to manage crisis as a manager or a leader. Shackleton managed to put the lives and well-being of his crew members first before everyone else. He was able to remain calm. He sustained morale. He did not demonstrate any kind of differentiation as in I'm the leader and you're my followers. He kind of wanted to serve the people he was with. And his mantra was kind of humanity and unity throughout the expedition. And in face of constant danger, he remained positive and decisive. So looking at the level 5 leadership, would you justify that because Shackleton demonstrated an obsession for the well-being of his men and he remained humble, then would we justify that he was a level 5 leader? So that's a question we'll pose to you. Actually, to make it more interesting, does anyone actually want to say what they think personally?
I think he was a level 5 leader because the one quote that you say is he builds enduring greatness through a paradoxical blend of personal humility and professional will. And I think that's definitely something that Shackleton lived up to.
Anyone else wants to challenge or agree?
David, your opinion?
I'm very skeptical about the level 5 leadership construct, that it has any validity as a hierarchy. I've seen level 4 leaders that are better leaders than level 5, and in fact level 5 leadership construct, as I've said in ES for example, has been proven not to hold over time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would caution you over elevating Shackleton to this kind of glorious level 5 leadership thing, because I'm not sure that it holds much currency. I'm not saying though that being a level 5 type personality is a bad thing. I'm just saying that it doesn't mean that you can outperform the running of companies or leading of endeavors better than anything else. And I think that's important distinction to make.
Okay. Okay, tips?
I think with the Shackleton situation, it was quite a unique circumstance that he had,
Yeah.
especially in the change of goals, where they were trying to go out to Antarctica, and then the next thing the goal changed to saving all of this men's lives. So that was quite a unique situation to be put in, and there is no copy and paste of level 5 leadership qualities that can be transferred easily to another situation, because well, how many other situations had those very two goals under those two circumstances as well?
Definitely. So thank you for the input. So basically we identified that the actual framework does have many loopholes. So who is to say that you're guaranteed success if you have the traits of a level 5 leader? So some of the loopholes, for example, were the belief that it kind of validated preconceptions. So the analysis left room for ambiguity in terms of it's open to interpretation depending on when and how it's being applied. So in the case of Shackleton, you can easily justify that he was a level 5 leader, depending on which traits you look at and what areas of his leadership you believe that are aligned with the level 5 framework, which is basically what kind of the study did. And it also lacked counterexamples. For example, determining if there were existing companies that had good to great transformations without a level 5 leader at the helm. So instead of doing a well-rounded analysis, it's kind of justifying the preconceived notion that definitely as a level 5 leader you're guaranteed success to transform your company or to lead people from good to great. And it also didn't look at other types of leaders who have managed to have those transformations. So the data didn't identify a trend. It basically supported the preconceptions that Jim Collins may have had. And also it only looked at common traits of good to great companies instead of looking at companies that were unsuccessful with a level 5 leader at the helm. So our notion is there are probably companies with a level 5 leader who has all those traits, but they weren't successful. So it didn't look at kind of why that would be the case. And there's also no clearly set process of how those traits in any way are associated with transforming a company from good to great. And it also did not test the sustainability of the so-called greatness. So basically, the companies in those periods, they looked at the findings and then they determined that it was because there was a level 5 leader at the helm, but they didn't look at the sustainability of that leadership style and how it translated into the success of the organization into the long run. So we'll ask again, do you think Shackleton is a level 5 leader? Or do you think he's just a man who was put in a situation where he needed to ensure that people survived and he just happened to make good decisions to ensure survival? So yeah, that's it for that section. Thank you.